Welcome everyone to Botlane number 9 with Andrew Unsure. Thank you so
Hello.
much, Andrew, for joining us today. Some notes off the top. I know you've been ranked 84th in the world in 2024 and as high as 4th in CLM in 2024 as well. You've also ran Unranked 2025, the largest national Arcadian since before COVID, and you're one of the founders of Midlane. So it's such a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show today. So thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Happy to be here. I haven't had a chance to check out much of Botlane before, but I tuned in for a little bit, and the format is really cool. And I'm just glad Chicago has some sort of spiritual successor to Midlane. So this is awesome, and I appreciate you having a couple minutes to talk this fine. What is it? Wednesday? I've lost track of my days.
Fine Wednesday, yes.
Yeah, of course. It's a
Indeed,
Midlane day,
indeed.
right? So
Yes, we're trying to keep the spirit of Midlane alive digitally, if not more so than. But yeah, I want to get the story behind your handle to start because I don't, I was curious about Unsure.
yeah, it actually uh, hmm. I'll preface it a little bit by saying, so I started playing Yu-Gi-Oh before playing Melee, and in Yu-Gi-Oh you don't go by a tag usually. No one I ever knew went by a tag, so I just went by Andrew then. When I went over to start playing Melee a little bit more, they were like, "Well, what's your tag?" And I would walk up to the organizer's desk, and they just say, "Well, what's your tag?" And I just walked up and said, "I'm unsure." And they're like, "Your tag is unsure, or your I'm unsure?" And I just said, "I'm unsure." And they're like, "Okay, unsure it is." So from that point on, I I didn't know, and it just kind of stuck with it. I liked the pun nature of it. I liked the uh, kind of the ambiguous nature of it. It was cool to switch from using an actual name to over to a tag. Kind of a cool change up. So it was fun. But yeah, unsure just kind of stuck, and I liked it. So never really changed it after that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. How did you go from Yu-Gi-Oh and then get into Melee?
So I played Yu-Gi-Oh for a while, probably 2013 into 2017-ish, and right around the time that Smash 4, what was that? Smash 4 came out, the 3DS version came out. I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and a couple of buddies started talking about Melee at the Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, and they were like, "Oh, I was like, "Oh, I played that when I was a kid. That's kind of cool." And they brought in a huge TV. It was like a massive, like I don't even know. I don't know what the size would be. Maybe probably like a 36-inch Trinitron they brought into the back of the card shop when the owner wasn't looking. I don't know how they brought it in because that guy would have never let it slide. Brought it in, set it up in the back, and just started playing. I just watched my friends play it for probably the course of like a year and a half, and I never really got into it. But I really liked watching it at the store. So watching it. Over time, they kind of ground me down a little bit, and they were talking about, Andrew, you should play a little bit more. I'm like, okay, well, I'll give it a try, and played it. My friend was playing Captain Falcon, and we did 3v1, and he like 3 or 4 stocked all of us at the exact same time. And I was blown away that you could do something like that in the game. Like the skill ceiling was so high compared to Yu-Gi-Oh, where the skill ceiling is quite high. It's just a lot more luck compared to Melee. And honestly, it just started
Mm.
attracting me more and more to wanting to play. So it was kind of just a beautiful circumstance that they brought a Melee setup in. I was frustrated with Yu-Gi-Oh at the time. The format wasn't my favorite, and then kind of my interest over card games just waned over the course of the next couple of years and switched over to Melee.
That makes a lot of sense. I heard you mention Smash on Nintendo DS. Was that correct? Like, is that a real
Yes,
thing?
it is. It is. Yeah, it was Smash 4. I think had a port, kind of like a precursor to Smash 4. It was Smash for 3DS, and then Smash 4 came out after. Please, if anyone else knows, correct me. But I think that's the timeline. So they started playing that in between Yu-Gi-Oh games, and just because they were bored, the turns were taking too long. And then they ended up trying to play Smash 4 a little bit, and then Melee, people were playing that, so I got to experience a little bit of all of it. I didn't really want to play the newest one for whatever reason. It just didn't feel right to me, even at the time.
Ah, that's so wild to imagine Smash on Nintendo DS. But
Yeah, yeah, I know. It's weird. It's weird to comprehend it, but they had multiplayer built into it, so that was a pretty cool selling point.
yeah, we have one producer question from Nicolette, which was, what was the format of Yu-Gi-Oh that you were playing?
Okay, let me think. I'm sure I can figure it out. It's unfortunate that I remember one person always played Infernity. Was the format that he or the deck that he always played. I know that it wasn't Infernity format because I think I was past Clifford. I think it was Clifford that the format was. I think Triple Scout had been out. I can get you a better answer later if I look it up, but I'm fairly certain it would have been Cleese.
Kevin says that maybe it sounds like Zodiac format.
Nah, it's that was way after.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
we'll keep going.
sure, sure.
So that's how you got into Melee. Then how did you end up in Chicago?
I went to I ended up going to college at DePaul, a
Okay.
school that quite a few other Smashers alma maters went to as well. And I'm from Wisconsin originally. I kind of just always wanted to get out of Wisconsin and just move to a bigger city. It was just it. I grew up traveling here for fun or with friends or on a school trip every now and then, and just really, really, really wanted to get away. I actually wasn't even supposed to go to DePaul. I was supposed to go to a smaller college in Kenosha originally, and didn't. I got a scholarship for the one in Kenosha, and didn't have anything for DePaul. But at the very last minute, I got a call from effectively a financial advisor confirming that my scholarship could transfer from the Carthage College in Kenosha over to DePaul, and ended up going to DePaul instead. So it
Oh,
seriously, like,
huge.
I had my roommate assignment. I had already called my roommate and figured out like I'm gonna bring the microwave type of like call. Everything was all figured out to go to school in Kenosha. So truly by an act of God, right at the very last minute, probably before like a month before moving into school, I had gotten that call. So really fortunate how it all worked out.
Yeah, totally. Did you have like, was there a Melee scene already at DePaul when you started going there?
Yeah, it was pretty new, but let me see. Who Fluid would have been pretty much like the guy back then. Fluid was the guy that run it, and a couple other old heads, Treebeard, um, Guts, uh, Bees. Those were a bunch of the guys that were running it back then. And they had, oh, and Dan Function were kind of like the leads of all of the group over there. I joined my very first Smash tournament at DePaul. I fought a guy named Lazarus in grand finals, and we were like the best of the worst. And we played a bracket at midnight at a overnight. It was called a DePaul After Dark, and they had a couple Melee setups, and they ran a bracket, and it was me versus Lazarus in grand finals. And I had been playing Melee for maybe a couple of months at this point, so it was cool. But he beat me, I think, in grand finals. But it was a good time.
When did you start, like within your melee career, started to get like really into it and begin to get competitive?
Oh, well, I will say this. I learned a lot of the things what not to do when playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I didn't take Yu-Gi-Oh! Super seriously, but I told myself if I was gonna play another competitive game, I kind of want to take it a little bit more serious, just because, what's the point for me? The way that I was thinking about it is like, well, if I'm going to spend my time in it, I want to be good at this game. So kind of off the bat, I was like, okay, what am I not doing in Yu-Gi-Oh? What do I need to do in Melee to get good? I need to watch the best players. I need to not have a crazy ego. I definitely had a little bit of an ego with Yu-Gi-Oh, which I think I'm not afraid to admit it. And it's like with Melee, you're humbled so quickly. And I think
Yeah.
anyone who's played for a little while knows what that feeling is. It's tough. It's hard when someone just beats the brakes out of you, and you're like, wow, it is nothing but skill. But when you're playing a little bit more luck-based game, um, you just you get a way about you. So I I was okay. Don't copy this, people listening that are still in school. I was definitely watching VODs in the middle of class, like had iPad open, watching VODs, like taking notes. I originally started as a Falco main, and was watching like Dr. PP, like PPMD VODs, and was like, what is he doing here? I'm like, how does he see the game so different? So I was taking a lot of notes like that, and unfortunately just not paying as hard enough attention in school as I probably should have been, but did fine in school, so oh well, that worked. But
Yeah.
yeah, so
So I guess like kind of going back to sort of the melee scene.
mhm.
What was there? Was it just like DePaul's melee scene in the city, or what was there before mid lane?
Yeah, before mid lane there were quite a few events. Prior to COVID, well, I'll wind the clock back a little bit. Uh, about in 2013, a little after 2013, was kind of like after the documentary came out. Uh, Melee all over the country had a huge boom, but specifically in Chicago, we probably notoriously had the most events of any other region in any given week. I think we had, and someone else can correct me here, I think we had 9 events in 7 days. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, so it like to the numbers that like don't like they just don't add up, right? You can like how do you have multiple events a day type of thing, but we had 9 events I think in 7 days, so the scene was really fractured with a ton of different like a bunch of different scenes, a bunch of different people playing. There were probably more than 9 events, honestly, but there was one every single day of the week. That's thus the term Melee Every Day, if you've ever heard of that group or organization. They run a lot of streaming stuff, so they get their name from that. And then there were 2 events on Saturday and 2 events on Sunday. So yeah, kind of a cool little piece of lore there. But there was a lot of college attendance. So what we really saw is there were 2 main groups. There were the college scenes, so U Chicago, IIT, DePaul, a little bit of Northwestern, and then Columbia and Roosevelt were kind of bunched up together with SAIC. So it was all the major colleges of Chicago. They all had their own scene. So IIT had like Tech Death or Q. Columbia had Flashburn, and Row at the time at SAIC. DePaul had Me, Fluid, Function, a million others, and so on and so on, right? Like I could go on to this. And then that in the second camp were all of the dedicated, I would call it like more gamery locals, which was what was it called? There was GHQ, which is in the northern suburbs. That was in like I can't think of the name of it. Not Round Lake, Grays Lake, no, Lake Zurich. It's somewhere up there.
Mhm.
That's one of or Gurnee area. So that's one of them. And then there was WIT, which is out in Aurora. And then there was EXP over on north, I think in Narragansett. So a little bit more on the west side. But those were the main events that were going on. And so there was an event from one of those areas every single day of the week.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Why then would you want to start another local? Like,
Well, there's a
basically, like, why would you want to start mid lane?
well, it was kind of like a badge of honor of like you kind of okay. Well, let me touch on pride and ego again because it had not left. I think there's an innate sense of ego to want to start your own event no matter what because it's like I can do it better than that person, and so that definitely
Mhm.
didn't leave, right? But maybe it was more out of spite. I'll tell you my actual TO moment was out of frustration. I was at a U Chicago tournament and they were running an event called Praxis, and a great group of people. They're very nice people, but they didn't. They, to be quite frank, they just did not run an event well at all. It was horrible. They had like maybe a 40-person bracket, and they had it scheduled to run for like 9 hours. There was going to be a lunch and a dinner break. Nothing ran on time. I was just so mad. I was so frustrated that I refused to let people have their very first Chicago Melee experience be something as horrible as that. So what I did was I set out, I talked to my roommates at the time. I'm like, do you guys have any concern with me potentially running a house tournament just to see what this is like? So I started a tournament called The Labyrinth, ran it out of my place, and said any money that I make from this, any at all, will exclusively go towards electricity and gas bills. I was like, that is the way I'm going to pay it forward to my roommates. I was like, you guys have to deal with one day out of the week me running a tournament and closing off the kitchen effectively. So I'll see what we can do and pay off those bills. And they were cool with it. So started running stuff there, got my ideas of like what I want to do for an event and what we can do to make it better. Really started from there. Slowly over time, event after event just started dying out, and there was kind of just like a vacuum of events. So since there really wasn't a ton there, I was like, well, what do I do next? At the time, the biggest event, so EXP had died. CCC, which was the biggest event, that was Columbia College local, that event had died. All of these events just started disappearing, so that they needed another one. From my Yu-Gi-Oh days, the event place that I played it was called Near Mint Games. I had told the main TO at the time to reach out to the event organizer and say, hey, are you open to having an event ran at your event or at your space? He was open to it at the time and started running NMG. So that was kind of the precursor to mid lane. The head TO of that event ended up moving to California, and he was like, hey, do you want to take over more or less like the spiritual successor of like, being the dad of CLM in a way, but also running the events? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'd love to do that. So he left. I took over, started with NMG. NMG died. Skip, I'm not going to even mention the 4 other events in between, and then mid lane popped out after all that.
Yeah, makes sense. I guess like looking back on your history of running melee, like or running melee for mid lane, what would you have done differently,
Oh man,
if
that's a tough one.
anything?
Yeah, no, always do something different. I I love the format that it was at until it ended. I loved the gold bracket. I loved the amateur bracket. I think I got a little too lost in the weeds trying to be really creative. I think the creativity is good. Trying unique things like gauntlet format or Swiss or ladder, any of those types of formats. But I think my heart was in the right place. But ultimately, I think where the TOs brought it to a much more sensible place nearing the end of its life, which is the gold bracket. I think that's fantastic. I would have loved some more insight earlier on into that. But honestly, not a lot of people were doing interesting things with brackets back then. It was pretty much double elimination, and that's it. I was like the only one trying to do anything different. So it's I don't want to be super hard on anyone for that. It's just that was a different time. But yeah, I would have liked to do maybe a simpler format that still gets all of the matches in for anyone at any given time, because people got a lot of matches at the very end of mid lane. It was great.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you feel like you've accomplished everything in melee that you set out to do?
Yeah, absolutely. When I first started playing melee, I told myself I wanted to get top 100, and that was my main goal. I didn't even want to organize events when I first started. I didn't even know that was a thing when I first started, but kind of did it out of necessity. If I was more or less told if I didn't run events in the city, there would be no more events. And it was pretty true at the time. No one wanted to step up and run events. No one really wanted to do anything. So if I didn't do it, I'm fairly certain that it just would look a little different. I'm sure that it would have recovered totally fine. Someone would have picked it up eventually. I just don't know who would have done it or when, which was unfortunate because I would have really liked to continue like getting better over that time and not focusing on events as much as I did back then. But the main goal really when I started was to get top 100. I did it, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, when did you know you were ready to step away from TOing?
Uh, I didn't. Honestly, I kind of fell in love with it over time. Just the relationships that you can build with, a group of different people, and it's hard to know. I think there were always moments where I wanted to step away, especially as like I wanted to get better, and I would get like a good win. I'd be like, okay, well this is it. I've finally gotten to a point where I'm really good. I'm okay to step away. Like someone else can figure it out. It really wasn't until Kevin and Aval started to get involved with the melee scene and start showing up a little bit more that I think that there would be someone that could selfishly think, right, that could do the scene justice, right? Like I think they're young in the scene. They were still in school. They had time to focus on this. They had aspirations of how they wanted to grow the scene. And they're just good people. So like I think that was some of the things that I was really looking for and hoping that someone would take over Melee in Chicago for.
Mm-hmm. What do you think makes like a good or bad TO? And like what were you looking for in your successor, I guess?
Yeah. Honestly, it's tough. Someone that is not going to forget about the little guy, I think is probably the number one thing. As I mentioned before, like I felt like there was such an underserved group of attendees that would go to tournaments. And I mean, for anyone that's been in the scene long enough, they've heard the term pot filler, and people were genuinely just called that, like to their face. Like if someone went 0-2 for years, like that guy's just a pot filler. Like he fills the pot of just spending $10 every week, and that's all that they do. And like I didn't like that. There's the reality of the group of people who do go 0-2, and they are contributing to the pot, but at least get their value in by playing more matches or having accessibility to better players or doing something that other areas aren't doing. And that was really the thing. Was I felt confident that Kevin and Aval both had compassion and understanding to not just the best players in a region, right? Like anyone can say, that guy's the best. Like we're going to treat him, roll out the red carpet. But to really care about, a different group of people, I think it takes a special person, and they both have those qualities.
Yeah, one thing that really stuck with me from Kevin's interview was just that he emphasized how much like community was important to him,
Yep.
and that like he wants everyone to have a really good time, whether that's like it's your first time or your 100th time or something. It's to have a great time is really what he's after. So I think that's like a beautiful, beautiful trait.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, would you ever come back to TOing?
I think I would. I mean, it's fun. I think it's good. I think a TO is no. I think it. I think I would only come back if two things. One, I had a good team. I think there's an amazing team in Chicagoland Melee right now who's super passionate. If I would only come back if I could match that passion and that drive. The other part is I would only come back if I really thought I could bring something different or something else was lacking. I honestly think the group of people that are already there right now are doing everything and more. So I'm not here to backseat organize any of them. They're doing a fantastic job. But if they ever wanted me back for anything, whatever, I'm always happy to come back and help however I can. But to probably come back and run a local, no. Honestly, I got a little. I don't have quite enough free time as I did when I was running it then. But maybe for a bigger event, happy to help however I can, or at a regional or in a pinch, happy to do whatever I can to help the scene. The scene has given me so much, so I will always be open to paying it back whatever I can.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Speaking of like bigger tournaments and things like that, you ran unranked. So I have another question, which is like, what is an Arcadian versus a national Arcadian, and why do they do that kind of tournament?
Yeah, the Arcadian, Man, the Arcadian is such a weird style of event. It's pretty cool, but it's low key. It's the worst event ever, but it's also kind of one of the best. Everyone, and I mean everyone, thinks that they can win an Arcadian. Let me explain. Well, first of all, an Arcadian is an event where no ranked players can attend. A national Arcadian is where no top 100, either current, past, or ranked top 50, anything like that, none of them can enter. A more local Arcadian would be something like no one ranked within the Chicagoland area can attend. So on both sides of it, every single person who enters, to a degree, thinks that they can win the event. So that level of delusion to me is kind of beautiful. I love the idea that anyone that can come in and be like, I can win. That is a very special feeling that I don't think you can always capture, because if you go to a huge major tournament, you don't think you're going to win. Like, you're being so sincere with yourself. But if you go to an Arcadian, you can craft a bracket in your head and say, okay, if I run into this guy because I beat his best friend once, and she is the best over in this region, if I beat her, and if this lines up with this, like, I'm going to win. Everyone does it. It's awesome. I love hearing those conversations. But then everyone has a soul-crushing heartbreak the day of the event because the winner was decided months ago because they're significantly better. Every single person who wins an Arcadian is like probably just one of the best players in the region already. They just weren't ranked due to whatever other reason. So I just wanted to run a national Arcadian because I think it's a great idea for an event. I always love the storylines that build out of it. I love that it gets people from all over the country, and I love the hype that it generates of kind of a very old school Smash mentality, which is, I'll bet you my friend is better than your friend, which you don't really get at larger events. At Arcadians, you get that at a much larger scale where you say, oh yeah, I bet Chicago's better than Texas, or I bet New York would beat LA, right? You get it at a bigger scale because these people don't usually play each other as often. So very special in those ways.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, where was the National Arcadian, the what unranked 2025 that you held?
You said where was it?
Yeah, where was it?
Oh, it was downtown Chicago in the Crown Plaza. There were a couple other National Arcadians prior to this that I had helped with. The previous one was at what was it called? Not Pheasant Run. It was whatever the old Combo Breaker venue was. Maybe that was Pheasant Run. I don't remember. But the old Combo Breaker venue had one of them, and then there was another in California. But it felt right to me that the Chicago Arcadian, or the National Arcadian, was centralized. Like this, it's the easiest way. Chicago's a huge hub. It's where I'm from at this point. I just wanted to gather everyone in one place for that event. So my goal was to run it downtown Chicago and have it more than just the event. The format was unique, but I also wanted people to enjoy the city as well. That's why I only made it one day. I want people to enjoy their weekend. I think it's really important to consider that there are other factors outside of just the event itself. I really encourage people, go check out the Bean, go check out the art museum, like go explore Chicago. Chicago in the summer, downtown, it's hard to ask for a better in-person Melee experience.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I love that you were so considerate about people's like visiting time and things like that. Okay. I think I guess like to kind of pivot a little bit, I have a couple of questions like as a top player too, since we haven't really asked about that. But like what was that process? As you mentioned like watching the videos and training. Were you doing like Uncle Punch? Were you on Slippy every day? Like what was your actual practice schedule like?
Yeah, when I think it really kicked off for two things. Like one, when I fully handed off mid lane, I would say mostly handed off mid lane to Kevin and Aval. That was when I could really focus fully on Melee. I was pretty good at that point, but to really like get to the next level, I needed to focus in a different way that you have to dedicate all of your attention to. So that was the first part, was handing off mid lane so I could focus on playing. The second part was switching over to a box style controller. I had so many problems and challenges with just a regular GameCube controller that I was just frustrated with the lack of consistency, but I knew it would take me around a year to get to the same skill level that I was at when I played on GameCube controller. So moving over to box, it just allowed me a lot more freedom in a lot of ways. that GameCube controller wouldn't. The consistency was the most important part for me. So those were the first big two pieces, and then from there I started developing plans. I took a ton of notes. I've got like, I don't know, a couple journals filled to the brim with notes of every single time that I picked up a controller. I took a note, whether that was on myself, my opponent, how I'm feeling, what I'm doing, what I'm planning on doing, what I want to learn, what I need to practice, everything like that. Every single day for about almost 2 years, I took a note on something. And then pair that with Uncle Punch, or pair that with Slippy or dedicated practice sessions or playing in person. It all added up and kind of resulted in getting ranked.
Wow, that's such dedication. I can't even imagine.
It took
That's
a
so
while,
intense.
but it was, yeah. I think looking back at it, maybe I went a little overboard, but whatever, right? If that's what it takes to get good and get better, I'll take it. So
Yeah, no, that's sick. Did you have any like highest highs or lowest lows during this like period of getting to like top 100?
uh hmm that's a good question too.
Or in general?
Yeah. Let me see. Probably the lowest of the low is what led to the previous answer I said, which is like I was at what was that tournament called? Bodied, one of the Bodieds, which is a Michigan tournament, and I was partway through bracket, and I was playing versus someone who there is. I would be shocked if I should lose to a person like this. Obviously, anyone can beat me, but historically, I don't lose to Jigglypuff. I do very well versus that character. I lost to someone who plays that character. A little bit of the ego coming out, but my controller just genuinely stopped working in the middle of the set. So I had to play with half of a controller, more or less. I couldn't dash to the left, and I couldn't jump sometimes with
Oh
one of my buttons. So I was like, well, what do I do? I just had to try to make it work, and obviously it didn't work. I lose. I was very frustrated in the controller. I'm like, I don't feel like I lost this one. I feel like the controller lost it for me. So that day I was like, I'm figuring out how I can get a box. I'm going to start learning. I'm done with controllers forever. And that was my moment. So I switched over after that. So that was probably the lowest. The highest was, oh man, honestly, there were some really good moments, in the run up to get ranked. Some of those wins were excellent, that I just was so proud of at the time. I think maybe my most proud win was probably beating Toussaint, who's a Jigglypuff player from New York, and I 3-0'd him in bracket, and it just didn't feel close. And it was like the first time that, and I had already beaten a handful of other top 100 players by this point, but it was like kind of the first time in my Melee career I'm like, oh, maybe I am actually, pretty good, compared to, how I perceive myself as. So it was kind of a cool moment, but yeah, that was special.
yeah, that's awesome. Is there any other are there any players that you would love to play against?
I've played against pretty much everyone at this point, which is cool. At least all the older players. The newer players, as they're starting to come up, I'm sure that someone could name someone I haven't played quite yet. But I'll still pop in unranked every now and then and play people online. But I played all the gods, played all of the top 20 and top 50 players. Honestly, I would like to have played some of the older players before they left. I never got a chance to play Ken or Isaiah, but that's it's okay. They were so far removed by the time I started that that's just how it goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and how would your fans, because I'm trying to like narrow in now on which character you play, and just guess that, because like I don't want you to tell me, but I'm gonna try to guess.
Sure.
But how would your fans describe your play style?
I don't know if I have any fans. That's a great question. I've heard many different ways of people describing my playstyle, and I think they're wrong. I think it's calculated would be a way that if someone were to politely describe my playstyle. If I
Okay.
could, I think in the last couple of years, significantly more aggressive, historically defensive is how people would call it. But I would say calculated, and definitely in the last couple of years, probably a little bit more aggressive.
Okay, that definitely narrows it down to just three characters in my head.
Okay.
Up in the running, we've got Captain Falcon, who's like literally has his finger on his forehead thinking. So maybe Captain Falcon. And then Samus has like a helmet situation going on. I can imagine there's comms. I can imagine there's some sort of calculation going. And then also Fox has a straight up headset. So like I think like all of those, some hardware, that's what calculated is giving.
Okay. Love it.
But we'll see. Maybe who inspired your play style?
Uh, Honestly, I don't know. I learned pretty quick that I didn't want to take anything from everyone. I just kind of wanted to be my own player in a lot of ways. Um, I, I had a lesson with SFAT maybe in like 2018, who is a Fox player out of SoCal, and he and I spoke, and he was like, I had a question about what what Leffen did versus Shroomed. I was struggling versus Dr. Mario Q at the time, and I had a question for SFAT, and I asked him. I was like, what does Leffen do in this situation, or what does anyone do versus Dr. Mario when you're just like struggling to hit him, right? If he's gonna pill camp you or whatever. And he said, well, you could do these options, you could do this, and I was like, okay, well, what if I up tilted, or what if I back aired, or what if I did that? And he very quickly like shut that down, and he was like, don't look at anything like it's in a vacuum, right? Just because you see a top player do a move doesn't mean that you're going to do the move in the exact same way or with the same context as that player. So everything is completely different. It depends under the circumstances that you put the move out. And that was pretty enlightening for me, because it turned my analysis of like watching games and watching top players specifically into less, okay, well, Zane up tilts, so I should up tilt, right? It stopped that. It brought it to a larger perspective, which is, okay, well, Zane decides to up tilt because, this player is right above him, or he believes that the player is going to fall on top of him. So that is the situation that could happen. So it wasn't necessarily basing it like off of a top player's gameplay or anything like that. It was kind of understanding, trying to figure out the context that each top player looks at their gameplay under. But if I had to compare it to anyone, what I would like to have been, it would have been like Crush or KJH. Definitely two idols for sure.
Okay, I have no idea what they play, so I'm just gonna lock it in. I think it's I think it's Fox.
You think it's Fox? Yes,
Yeah.
you are correct. Nice. Love it.
Oh my gosh! Wait, I can't believe I'm getting so good at melee guessing.
You got it. That's awesome. What gave it away?
No, I don't know. It's just the calculated part, and I knew it was like probably a more like meta character, to get top 100, because like no one's winning with Pichu, unfortunately, which is
True.
my bias. But yeah, wow.
Nice.
I
That's
guess
awesome.
I guess DZ was Yoshi. Yeah, and that was wild. I can't believe it. And then I kind of guessed Grunker was Sheik, but that was with some hinting.
Okay.
But yeah, so I don't really count that win. This is I'm 2 for 2 right now. I'm really flying high.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, you're getting the melee scoreboard. Someone has to throw in who can we do? We could ask man, what would be a crazy one? Who plays the weirdest? Oh, we have Fast Hands. I'm not going to say who Fast Hands plays. I don't know if anyone's told you about Fast Hands. Fast Hands plays an interesting character. That's all I'll say.
Oh wait. I think we were watching Fast Hands last week. Was Fast Hands Mewtwo?
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm paying attention to this. Is incredible. I was doing comms with DZ last week, and we were just like, I was studying Mewtwo gameplay versus Peach.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know your stuff. Okay, yeah, Kevin. Yeah, the fluid. Yeah, fluid is a good one.
I don't know what Fluid plays, but
Yeah,
that's a wild tag.
yeah. That's fluid is one of my goats. That guy is amazing. Fluid will definitely he'll throw you a curveball with that one.
Fluid's giving Dr. Mario because I feel like Dr. Mario studies fluids.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe
We'll
if
see,
food
we'll
ever comes
see.
on.
Yeah. Well, awesome. It's been awesome having you on the show today. Is there anything you want to plug while we get some questions in from chat?
No, nothing really. I just appreciate you inviting me. I appreciate the interview. Great questions. I love the format. You're a great host, so thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Aw, thank you. I have no idea what I'm doing. Um,
Yeah, you're doing great.
Notch, Notch says, "Will unsure Yama with me?"
Yama? Oh, I am maybe. I do need the pet still. Hit me up.
I don't know what Yama-ing is.
It's for old school RuneScape. It's
Oh,
one of the bosses in the game. Yeah, hit me up, Notch.
old school RuneScape. That's awesome. I love that. That's a different era for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I only play 20-plus-year-old games. That's the rule. I play Counter-Strike too, so I can't really escape it. The old man allegations are here.
Kevin Tenacity asks, Andrew, what are your top 5 priorities when starting a tournament series at any scale?
At any scale, oh, top 5 priorities: price, accessibility, uh, inclusivity, and location, and Hmm, 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 hmm. Honestly, just have a good time, right? Like that's we worked together for so long, Kevin. Like I just want to make sure everyone feels involved and feels comfortable to be like at an event. I think we didn't have that for so long prior to, certain organizers, running tournaments in the scene. And maybe that's just because how the scene was a while ago. But the community was just hostile in general. It was just mean. I didn't really like that. So I think any good tournament just needs to be uh, good and comfortable for everyone. I think it's just really important, and it needs to be cost effective. Right on top of it, just to go logistics wise, like I think people need to not balk over the idea of a $200 entrance to go to a game that they're probably not going to do very well at. You need to bring that price down to something that is most affordable towards everyone at the event. And then I think it just needs to be at a cool spot. I think you need to like meet people where they're at in a lot of ways. Like if you want people to enjoy your region and your scene, probably don't have an event out in the middle of nowhere, right? Like if you're proud of Chicago and you like it, you want to showcase how cool Chicago is, you should probably work as hard as you can to make sure that your event is where you can best showcase Chicago at.
Makes a lot of sense. Just ask, how many sets do you think it would have taken you to beat HBox if you had infinite tries in a time loop situation?
That's a fantastic question. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. I I have studied. I only played HBox a single time, and that was at Big House the year before I got ranked, in a bracket. Every other time I've played, direct sessions with HBox. I would play pretty much at every major. I would sit down and play with him. The real answer is I think I could have done it. I genuinely think I could have done it. Uh, if I would have gotten probably a couple more tries. You just, as you know, right? You play against someone like that. There's just a level of nerves and expectations. I think no matter how good you are at something, I think you feel a little nervous in that situation. But if HBox wanted to win, I would never win. I think infinite time loop, infinite tries, I never win. If he actually wanted to win, that guy is just different. He would just have solved the game.
Whoa.
He's just different. The H goat. If he decides to win, that's it. He's decreed it.
That's impressive. Awesome. Well, I think that's everything from chat. So thank you again for spending some of your evening, your Wednesday evening, this glorious Wednesday evening together, and answering some questions for the pod.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Tori. Thank you, Nicolette, for hosting. Thanks for everyone asking, and it's a pleasure being on. Thank you again.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, take care.
Thank you. Bye.
I think we'll have comms up next, and I don't think it's going to be me again this week, hopefully, because I think it's a little too early. But we'll see.
みんな見て。 Ready, go!